we turn to David Fleischer. He's an Emeritus Professor from the University of Brasilia. He joins us via Skype from Brasilia. Professor, welcome.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
So, was this vote really much of a surprise? Did anyone expect the outcome to really be any different?
The predictions by the president's staff, President Temer's staff, were somewhere between 58 and 61. So 58 votes against Dilma to pronounce her and begin her trial was within the range of the predictions. But it was 4 votes more than when the Senate decided to begin impeachment proceedings back in May.
Professor, walk us through the impeachment process and this trial. How long will it last? How does it work? And will Dilma Rousseff actually have to take the stand, if you will, or testify?
She was invited to testify now this time before the vote was taken last night. But she refused because she made an imposition or a condition that she would not take any questions from the senators. So that condition was rejected by the Senate, and so she did not make any personal testimony. However, she is going to send an open letter to all the senators stating her case.
So will she actually be in court?
That's a very open question, because that possibility will again be presented, let's say maybe the 3rd week in August, and she will be afforded an opportunity to make her own personal defense. But I don't think she will do that.
So if she in fact is ousted from office, is Dilma Rousseff's political future basically over?
Well, yes, technically yes, because once she's impeached, she loses her political rights for 8 years, plus the remaining 2 years of her mandate. So she would only be able to run for office again in 2026, 10 years from now. So that would more or less end her political career. She is trying to appeal to the Inter-American Court of Human Rights, which is part of the OAS. But that probably will not have any impact at all.
Professor Rousseff, of course, is charged with manipulating state funds. She's denied any wrongdoing, has denounced her impeachment as a right-wing conspiracy. Is this trial really about her misusing state funds, or is she taking the blame or the fall for the country's deep economic crisis?
Well, in addition to Brazil having a very deep economic crisis, we have a deep political crisis involving massive corruption organized by her political party, mostly her political party. We had an impeachment of President Collor back in 1992. And in our Constitution, impeachment means that you have committed crimes of responsibility, which are basically political crimes, not any penal crimes. So she's being tried for crimes of responsibility, which is a political trial. What she did with the budget was to increase budget expenditures without seeking the prior approval of Congress. She also used state-owned public banks to cover some of the deficits and cost overruns, which both are unconstitutional and violate what we call the fiscal responsibility law. We have a fiscal responsibility law on the books in Brazil since the year 2000, which means that no president, governor, or mayor is allowed to overspend his or her budget. You're not supposed to spend more than your revenues. That's part of the fiscal responsibility law. But this is the principal accusation against her. There are other accusations which have appeared after the initial accusation was accepted back in February. In mid-April, the Chamber of Deputies voted quite overwhelmingly, more or less 2/3, to begin impeachment.
Professor, is there a possibility that she could actually go to jail?
Yes, once she leaves office, she goes back to being a common citizen, and she could be tried by a first-level court. In Brazil, presidents, vice presidents, deputies, senators, and also cabinet ministers have what we call foro privilegiado, which means a privileged legal form. They can only be judged by the Supreme Court. So once she's out of office, she returns to being an ordinary citizen, and she could be tried in any first-level court if they find any penal crimes that she has committed.
The political drama certainly continues in Brazil. Professor David Fleischer, thank you so much.
You're welcome.